He has spoken on the topics faith, family and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, thatguyrocks.com and thatguyteach.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J Loren Norris.
If you've been watching this podcast for any period of time, you know that just a few months ago we moved. We moved from the big city to a little tiny town on the lake. And you know what comes with being in the country and on the lake? Critters. Lots and lots of critters. And those critters have made their way into our life in a unique way. And they tend to pose some problems that, well, they can ruin your day if you're not ready for them. If you're not paying attention to what they're up to, they can ruin your day. And it's amazing because they're not big critters. They just present would-be big problems. And I think we have that same issue in leadership in general. And that's what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders. Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders podcast, and I can tell you my wife on a regular basis, probably at least twice a day, once when she goes to work and once when she comes home, enjoys an encounter with a critter. Specifically, spiders. It doesn't seem to matter to them how many times we are homewreckers. My wife has her morning routine that looks some like, it's a mix somewhere between conducting a ballet or conducting a symphony orchestra or some Harry Potter witchcraft thing where she needs a little wand to make her way through, because every direction around our cars in the driveway is a new spider path, a new spider home. We've got the Spideyverse going on in our driveway every morning. We have probably 50 trees on our property, and they all love spiders apparently, and apparently all the spiders love them, and they make new homes no matter how many times we hatchet our way through them, going to work and coming home from work. The minute our cars are parked there, they reconnect themselves. And when our cars are not there, they connect themselves to everything else around us. You can't get out the gate into the driveway without a spider web. Now, what's really fascinating, though, is that in the morning when there's a little bit of fog out and you've got your glasses on and your glasses are a little fogged from changing temperature inside and outside, it's easy to walk into a spider web you cannot see. Fortunately, on my side, the trees are high enough, the surroundings are high enough that the spiders tend to place themselves right in the middle. And so if I focus not on the web, but on the spider, I find their home, which really only gives me about 3 seconds of advance time when my hands are full with a coffee cup and a laptop, et cetera, trying to get in the car to defend myself against spider attack. I just hope that I don't run into one of them that is a more malicious little spider, because that could really ruin your day. But it's bad enough when they get in your hair and you could feel them on your neck and you don't know if it's a spider web on your neck or the actual spider. You don't know if they're seeking revenge or not. Now, you're asking yourself, I thought this was a leadership lesson, and I'm going to tell you it absolutely is, because that spider web, spider encounter metaphor runs so deep in the world of leadership. All you got to do is think about it for a minute, and I'll promise you have had encounters with people that you thought they're like a spider web. I just can't get rid of them. Every time I turn around, there's some new issue. They're everywhere. I turn this way and that way, and it's the same stuff again. I just keep getting caught up in it. But at the same time, if you're looking for the web and missing the spider, you have another problem. Or if you're looking at the spider and looking at the web and wondering if you're going to get bitten or if you're going to get stung by something else that was caught in the web, or you're going to just have it all over your clothes for the rest of the day, you get distracted from the real objective, which is getting in the car to get to work. How many times have you encountered that person or that scenario or that job, that task, that contract that just seems to go on, and no matter where you turn from it, it's still stuck to you in some way. You've tried to dismiss yourself from it. You're all finished with that. You're moving on to the next thing. You're no longer in that relationship, and yet you can't get free of it. It's sticky. It follows you. See, sometimes our leadership problems are about perspective. They're really, how big a problem is this anyway? I mean, really, to the spider, we're the homewrecker. We're the one destroying all the work they've done overnight. They've worked so hard to build this beautiful home to, well, catch their food, to not just a place to live, but a place to eat as well. If they had a vocation, well, this is pretty much it. And here we come every day, destroying it, ripping it to shreds because it's inconvenient to us. Sound like something else you've encountered? How many times have you run into, I don't know, government policies, changes in local government policies, national government policies, tax codes? I've told the story here many times. I heard it probably 10 years ago. A guy who used to make all of his money faxing sales sheets into people's offices. Now, some of you watching don't know what a fax machine is. It's actually a printer connected to a phone line. It's the best way to describe it. The phone would ring and then it would spit something out. And this guy made his money selling his list of fax numbers to businesses all over the country. And he would say, hey, I'll send your flyer, your poster, your ad sheet into these businesses. And he was making gazillions of dollars selling this ad space directly into people's offices. The problem was people would sometimes have the inkjet printer and it would just fill the whole page. And sometimes it would have the thermal printers and that paper was expensive. And people got really upset that there was so much resource being wasted on paper and toner and laser ink and thermal paper. And so they actually hired a political action committee, went to the president and said, enough is enough. We're burning up trees. We're killing the environment. The environment is going to die if the guy keeps sending fax machines. And the next day, the then president signed by executive order, no more mass distribution of faxes. And in that day, like the spider walking out to his web going, what happened to my house? What happened to my business? How am I supposed to eat now? This guy, with the single stroke of a pen, lost his empire. People who had paid in advance for the advertising that can now no longer legally be delivered, it just went away. The business went away. He had to refund money. He had to lay people off. He had to sell things that he had purchased because the business was now deemed illegal. The same business he'd been doing was now deemed illegal. See, we have these perspective problems sometimes. We have what seems like to everybody else a little crisis, but to us it's a big deal. But trust me, when my wife gets a cobweb in her hair, it's a big deal for her and for everybody else around. It's going to be a problem until it's solved. In leadership, we have the same problem. We let what sometimes to everybody else seems like a little problem really get under our skin and really bug us until we make decisions that are hectic or crazy. Yes, I have poured coffee on myself trying to avoid a spider. I walked into a web not realizing it was there, and then out of the corner of my eye, I see him charging at my face because he's mad that I'm in the middle of his house, and I spill coffee on myself trying to get rid of him. I didn't solve a problem. I created a bigger problem. If I were looking at you, I would ask you to raise your hand and ask you, how many times have you created a bigger problem trying to solve a problem? See, the size of our problem is usually a direct relationship to both the perspective that we have of the issue and our focus on the issue. If we're not watching where we're going when we run into a spider web, you're liable to trip over something and trip over your own 2 feet. You might find that you accidentally drop your laptop. Now you're at a couple $1,000s over a spider. A spider. Yeah, the same critter you would smash with your flip-flops. A spider. And now you're out a laptop. How many times have you found yourself in leadership dealing with one employee who maybe they're a little bit like the spider? They're a little bit distracting. But if you're focused on that one little spot, a spider is not as big as your thumbnail unless you're in Australia or the Middle East. And then you have camel spiders and tarantulas, and they're big enough to carry away your hubcaps or hide under one. But most spiders are the size of your thumbnail, maybe a quarter. But a problem that small can derail your entire day. The drama of an employee, a bad hire, taking on a contract that really isn't your bailiwick. You need the money, you need the cash flow, you got to go get that job, you go get that job, and then you realize, I can't do this to the expectations of the customer, or I can't do this at all, and now I have to farm it out, and I'm going to end up paying more to get it done than I'm going to get paid to do it. And that's never a good thing. But we come back to that perspective issue, right? So long as we're focused on the grand problem, focused microscopically, we lose sight of the big picture. As leaders, we've got to be able to move that perspective and that focus back and forth. Can we look at it from more than one angle and realize, there might be a way around this? Can we change our depth of focus so that the thing that we want to be in focus is more in focus? This doesn't seem like a drastic difference. These cameras are only 18 inches apart, but the depth of focus changes everything, and the detail that you can see and how much you can't see. It's amazing when you change your focus. I mean, I could turn you around completely and now you can see nothing because that camera points the other way. That's the same camera you see in this angle. Notice how the room hasn't left, the issue hasn't changed, but just by changing our perspective, what we see is different. It's true, but I'm challenging you as leaders to change your perspective on purpose from time to time. Take a moment and step back, walk around the problem and look at it from another angle. Change your focus depth and ask yourself, if I'm zoomed way in on this problem, on this personnel problem, on this hiring problem, on this budget problem, on this project, if I'm zoomed way in on that, is my intent focus helping or hurting? If I zoom out, if I change my focus, will I find that just by seeing more things in the picture, I can make better decisions? If I have a broader scope of everything that's going on, I can really see better how to solve the problem. Where if I stay zoomed in too tight, I have a limited ability to see the entire picture. Changes your perspective. And if you were to walk around the room from where you are and look at all the other options, would you see something entirely different than you see right now? Leadership problems, every leadership problem, is first a perspective issue. Is this only true in the way that you see it? If you were to ask someone else on your team, do you see this the same way I do? Do you feel about this issue the same way that I do? Or am I bringing some personal bias into this? Do I have some subconscious thoughts about this that I'm carrying over from the past that really aren't true? They really aren't relevant. They're really not realistic fears, but I'm bringing them in. Can you give me some perspective on this? Can you see it from an angle that I can't see it from? That should be your first question every time. And if you don't have a team around you that can honestly answer those questions, who you allow to tell you the truth, now you have a whole different set of problems. But if you have a team that you can trust to tell you the truth, to say, yeah, I think you're seeing this as a bigger problem than it really is, or I don't think you see the whole thing. This is actually a bigger problem than you think it is. You've been focused in this one tiny area, and you really need to back out a little bit and see it from another angle, because this is a big deal. This needs a lot more attention than you've given it. When those things are reality and you have a proper team to help you work through those things, it's going to change the way you deal with the problems that you're facing. Every leader faces problems. Every leader has challenges. We have challenges in budget. We have challenges with our economy. We have challenges with the sales process. I saw someone just yesterday that posted in a similar industry. Hey, you know, what happened? It seems like the well has dried up. Usually by this time of the year, we've had, you know, X number of elements of business in the same month. And this year we got nothing. And I said, you know, I thought it was just me. I thought maybe I'd done something wrong. Maybe it was the move. But by this time last year, we'd had 84 event dates. And this year we're under a dozen. That's a huge difference. But is the problem mine alone? Is it something I've done wrong, or is this a shift in the industry? Well, when you get other people's perspective, looking at the same industry from different angles, you get different answers. And you need those different answers. And you need to be able to look at them from other perspectives and realize your way of seeing the world is not the only way to see the world. You also need to be able to change your focus. If you're zoomed in too tight, you're going to miss a lot. Oh yeah, you need focus. You need times of intense focus where all you see is the task at hand. Nothing else can distract you. Nothing is going to draw your attention away. Just what you're supposed to be doing. You also need to know that sometimes that focus makes you not focused and attentive, but myopic. Like you're looking at the world through a funnel. You only see specifically where you're looking. That can be bad. That can be real bad. Also understand too that you're going to get what you're looking for. And if your perspective is negative, your perceptions are negative, your preconceived notions about the outcome of an event or a relationship are negative, you're going to see what you're looking for, even if it's not there. And in that moment, your problem becomes bigger. You'll walk through spider webs that really aren't even there. You're going to feel cobwebs in your hair from cobwebs that weren't there. You're going to run from spiders that don't exist. Take that metaphor as far as you want to. It happens in our relationships. It happens in our jobs. It happens in our contracts with our clients. It happens across the board. Every leadership problem that you face is first an issue of perspective and next an issue of focus. If you'll change your perspective and change your focus, the size, the magnitude, the ramifications of your problem, they will change as well. And so will the size, the magnitude, and the opportunities for solutions. Take the time to find people around you who can help you look at the problem you're facing from another perspective. Change your focus for a moment, and even if you just got to close your eyes or take your eyes off of it and then look again, you might have a different way of seeing it. And remember too, as a leader, this is a huge part of your role in the lives of people that you lead, to give them another perspective and to challenge what they're focused on, to make sure that on a regular basis you're bringing them back to the vision so they can see and participate in what they're supposed to be and not be focused on the daily drama at home or the issues that are small microscopic spiders that are causing daily problems for them. Take the time to do that because you care about them and you care about your end game. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Lauren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Lauren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Lauren will serve you well.